Alive. That's Toby Goen, the punter for the Saints. He's their kickoff specialist. And David Dunn, number 88, a big return man. He's 6'3" and 220, acquired by Oakland this year as a free agent. He played his college ball with Trent Dilfer at Fresno State. Goen delivers the opening punch, and it's Dunn at the goal line. Hit at the 15 and down at the 17. Fumbles picked up by the Saints, but I believe they're going to rule the play dead as veteran Chris Oldham came up with the football. Rob Kelly was in there to make the hit, but they're ruling that Dunn was down. But a spirited start for the New Orleans Saints, and Oakland takes over at the 17.
Well, we go right to the replay right off the bat. Let's watch Dunn. Here comes the hit. There's Kelly right off to the side. You can see his right knee hit the ground. Officials rule it down. Good break for the Raiders.
Veteran Rich Gannon, who made it to the Pro Bowl a year ago at quarterback, and he hands off to Zach Crockett. Crockett getting the start. He's the big back, 240 pounds, with Tyrone Wheatley sidelined inactive today. Bonnie?
Hi there, guys. Well, Raiders only had 38 yards rushing against Denver, but don't expect them to abandon the run today. Zach Crockett will be filling in for the injured Ty Wheatley. Napoleon Humphrey will always also get his share. And one thing you might see a little bit more of is the no-huddle. John Gruden says his players have been lobbying him to use it more, and against the Saints defense, he mixes it up so much, that might be a good ploy, guys.
But he's concerned about the noise, Bonnie. Thank you, as Crockett bulling his way for 6 more and close to a first down at the 26-yard line before Sammy Knight and Norman Hand can make the tackle. Let's check the starting lineup for the Oakland Raiders with Sims Wisniewski, a 7-time Pro Bowler, Robbins, Collinson, Kennedy up front. Zach Crockett starts with John Ritchie, the veteran Tim Brown, the all-time receiver in Raiders history, with James Jett, the speedster outside, and Ricky Dudley, the big tight end. Rich Gannon from the University of Delaware. He's one of the few ever in the NFL who lettered 3 years in crew in Philadelphia and high school. Good training for the weather we've had in New Orleans this week. Crockett tries the left side, and I don't believe he made it. He stuffed right at the line of scrimmage. He needed a long yard, and it appears they have nailed the Raider ball carrier at the 26.
Yeah, if you're going by the marker that's on the far side of the field, I agree with you, Dick.
And they have marked it 4th and about a half yard, and that forces the punting team. Here's the Saints starting defense. Darren Howard, Norman Hand, Leroy Glover, 13 sacks. Joe Johnson with Mitchell Smith and Fields the backers. And there's your deep secondary, Mathis, Perry, Knight, and Weary. They weren't on the field long, were they? The rookie Shane Leckler to punt, and Chad Morton, the rookie from Southern California, back for the Saints. A driving kick, Morton at the 28, 40, and out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Knocked out by Eric Johnson, who flirted with a penalty. He made contact beyond the sidelines. 46 on the punt, 19 on the return. And here comes Jeff Blake, acquired as an unrestricted free agent from the Cincinnati Bengals. Played his college ball at East Carolina. Threat not only with his arm, but an excellent scrambler. He's rushed for nearly 250 yards this season. Saints starting slowly, 1-3 under new coach Jim Haslett. Put together a 6-game winning streak. They start with excellent field position at their own 47-yard line. Playing without Ricky Williams, out for the season, broken ankle last week at Carolina. That's Terrell Smith, the fullback in motion, the quick toss, and it's Joe Horn, the leading receiver, met quickly by Marquez Pope, who came up from safety. Horn, 57 catches, tops for New Orleans this year, former Kansas City Chief. Here are the Saints offensively with 6-time Pro Bowler William Roth, Wally Williams, Fontenot, Naoli, and Turley up front. Haslett says Roth and Turley the best offensive tackles in the league. Morton and Terrell Smith, 2 rookies in the backfield with Jackson and Horn, the wide receivers, and Andrew Glover Glover, the ex-Raider at tight end, and after the play, flags have flown.
You saw that Joe Horn was having trouble getting up. There was a confrontation with some of the Raiders' defensive backs. And when you talk about late flags, they came out so late that both teams were all the way back in their huddles.
Tony Correnti signals unsportsmanlike conduct against New Orleans. Horn, a very vocal player, animated.
After all the continuing action of the play was involved, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 87, 15-yard penalty. The play will be counted, second down.
Well, the Raiders got what they wanted. They frustrated Joe Horn to the point where he gets called for the unsportsmanlike conduct, and how quickly marvelous field position for the Saints evaporates. Horn, first time up at the 47-yard line. Now they're all the way back to 31.
Horn was fined $5,000 for excessive celebration, touchdown a week ago. Said he's going to temper his emotions. Not so in the first play. So from the 31, play action to Blake. Scrambles, throws, and throws it away. Tony Bryant, number 94, the defensive end from Florida State, pressuring Blake. And here are the Raiders defensively with Bryant Jackson, the big man, and Darrell Russell, last two Pro Bowls. Lance Johnstone, the pass rusher. William Thomas, the former Eagle, with Beekert, the leading tackler, and Elijah Alexander. Those are the backers. The back four features Charles Woodson from Michigan, two-time Pro Bowler. Dorsett and Pope at safety. Eric Allen, the veteran, also an ex-Eagle, at the other corner.
Well, you script a beginning of a game, everybody goes through it, but you don't script this.
Look at this. 5 defensive backs are 20 yards downfield as Blake looks and fires to Keith Poole, but he's hit immediately at the 47. That's just about where this drive started for New Orleans.
There's a flag on the far side of the field, Dick, over about the 32-yard line. The Raiders signaling that this is going to be against the Saints. If so, even though it's fourth down, you got to think that maybe they'll have them try it again, because this is good field position for the Saints to put the Raiders deep with a decent punt.
John Gruden saying no, we'll decline it.
Decline it. That's
Illegal shift, offense, number 87, went in motion as the offensive team was getting set. The penalty is declined. Fourth down.
Now there's a coach making a decision, Dick, John Gruden, I think based on the fact that he's got the 30th ranked pass defense in the National Football League. I'd be tempted to take that penalty and make the Saints try to complete another ball. You might come out of it with a lot better field position.
Darian Gordon, an excellent punt returner, is deep as Goins' punt is a flat ball to the 9. Gordon gets 5 back to the 14. Tackled there by number 80, Robert Wilson. No score early in the Superdome in New Orleans. Back in New Orleans, the Saints' new coach, 44-year-old Jim Haslett. A tough guy, a linebacker with the Bills, 9 years in the league, and he's brought a tough program here to New Orleans, and it's paying dividends. From the 15, Gannon starts the series, underneath to Ricky Bentley. Juggles and holds on for a 9-yard gain out to the 24. Keith Mitchell in on the tackle. Rich Gannon, who grew up in Philadelphia. He had an excellent season a year ago, and you can see his numbers this year. Twice the touchdowns over intercepts. He's been sacked only 18 times. Testimony to his rushing ability. As you can see, well over 2,000 yards, 285 this season.
That season last year, they put him in Honolulu in the Pro Bowl.
Randy Jordan and a back, he split out on 2nd and 1. Here is that scrambling talent, and he's tackled after a first down at the 28 as Kevin Mathis comes up from a corner to make the stop.
It's something that Rich Gannon has always brought to the table his entire NFL career, and even though he'll be 35 next month, he can still move. He has pocket presence when it comes to just the subtle little moves to evade a rusher in the pocket and still deliver the ball downfield, or if he has to, Rich is more than willing to leave the pocket and go out on his own. Almost 300 yards rushing on the season so far.
Back in with a power backfield. Richie at 250 to fullback and 240-pound Crockett. Gannon to throw underneath to Crockett. And the former Miami Dolphin, tackled at the 33-yard line, nearly 5 on the play, into the arms of rookie defensive end Darren Howard.
Zach Crockett, you would think, wouldn't be the first choice of John Gruden to get the bulk of the carries today. You'd think Napoleon Kaufman being next in line with Wheatley down. But he wants Zach Crockett in the game because he said he's a tougher, more physical presence. He has a better chance of wearing down a defensive unit. John Gruden realizing that today he is facing a special group in this group from New Orleans. Ranked 3rd in the league, but maybe the hardest hitting defense in the entire NFL.
2nd and 5. And it's Crockett again. He's hit hard at the 35, a couple yards shy of a first down. As Sammy Knight came up from safety to make the tackle. No score here in New Orleans. What's happening elsewhere, Jim Nance? Can't count out Buffalo. Now Rob Johnson.
What an important thing to do in Arrowhead, too, Dick. To try to quiet that crowd down.
3rd down, 3. Randy Jordan in the backfield as Gannon fades the throw underneath, and the catch made by Jordan, who struggles forward for a first down at the 40-yard line. Darren Smith, the tackler. Well, Jim Nance keeping busy. He's on that scoreboard treadmill. What do you got now, Jim?
まだ自陣40ヤード地点です。得点力に関してはオークランドレイダーズ今シーズン本当に
Wow, like trying to throw an ice ball.
相手のニューオーリンズ選手は
First down, Raiders, who have made a living this year 8-2 on long sustained drives, and that's what they've got going so far. And now it's Napoleon Kaufman breaking into the clear midfield to the 40, out of bounds at the 35 by Fred Weary. So they use the punch of Crockett at 240, and then they bring in the speed of Kaufman, who rips a 25-yard gainer.
And I know that Napoleon Kaufman at 185 pounds plays bigger than that. Yeah, he's got great quick, but what an upper body this guy. You saw a pretty good hit to the shoulder, and Kaufman doesn't even skip a beat as he heads downfield. Napoleon Kaufman runs bigger, but he moves like a guy that weighs about 155. Look at that move right there downfield. He puts on Darren Perry, fights right on through the tackle, barely phased.
Back comes Crockett. That's the second tight end. Brigham in motion. And Gannon pumping and throwing underneath to Crockett. Tackled immediately by Darren Smith, the former Cowboy. Allowing just short yardage, if any, on the play. Might even be a yard loss.
And you notice a trend so far here in the Raiders passing game. They haven't found anything downfield. Everything that Rich Gannon has had to do has been in that 4, 5, and 6-yard range, or in that case, the minus half-yard range. He's not found anything vertically yet. You got to think that he's trying to find Tim Brown downfield somewhere.
Brown to the right, the all-time Raider receiver and punt returner. Andre Rison to the left. 2nd and 11. Gannon eludes the rush, eludes another man, and then he fumbles the ball. And it is recovered by whom? No, they're going to call it an incomplete pass. Ooh, that's going to be interesting to see, and that it appeared that somebody knocked that right out of Gannon's hand as he reached back to throw.
Well, Tony Correnti is our referee.
The quarterback's arm was
He was calling that a forward pass.
The fans certainly don't agree.
Well, let's take a look at it. Take a look at it right here. Rich Gannon doing a wonderful job. You could see he was going to sidearm the football. Keep in mind right here, though, yes, no question, but really, even if it wasn't, nothing could have happened. That's an unreviewable play because the whistle blew. But that was the right call by Correnti.
3rd and long. Gannon given good protection. Throws incomplete to Brown, but a flag is down. And it appears to be the interference call on Fred Weary,
who's arguing that it was offensive interference. Fred was pleading his case. I'm not sure successfully.
That's a break for the Raiders on 3rd and 11. The hold will give them the automatic first down.
holding. Defense number 29. 5-yard penalty. Automatic down.
Well, they call Sammy Knight. The call goes against number 29, Sammy Knight. There's Tim Brown right there working on Fred. Yeah, and Fred had his shoulder pads. I think that's a misidentification by Karenni. The flag clearly thrown at Fred Weary for that hold on Tim Brown. He said number 29 that he's Sammy Knight. I think obviously that was on Weary.
6.5 minutes left in the opening quarter. First down, Raiders at the Saints 30. And here comes Kaufman straight to the outside. And it's a first down inside the 20-yard line. So a couple of carries for Kaufman and a couple of big gainers.
And another illustration that Napoleon Kaufman is more than just shiftiness and speed. Again, he uses power to break a tackle. Watch right here, an arm tackle. That's Fred Weary again. He's got him by the jersey, but not enough. Kaufman has a lot more leg strength than you might imagine for a player that size.
You know, Dan, in high school he gained 5,000 yards, in college 4,000 yards. He said, I can take the pounding.
He can, and I think a lot of times he's been unfairly labeled. He's just a quick, shifty guy.
Brown in motion, the handoff to Crockett. Tries to center the Saints defense and meets considerable resistance, spearheaded by linebacker Mark Fields, number 55.
Now, this is nothing new, the fact that the New Orleans Saints play good defense. I think this is a tradition down here that goes all the way back into the 70s. Great players then through the 80s like Pat Swilling and Ricky Jackson and on and on and on. And boy, do they have it going now. They're not only good in every facet of the game, but they lead the league in sacks and they punish opposing quarterbacks.
Showing up a lot of time on this drive that started back at the 15-yard line. Gannon over the middle, incomplete into a crowd of players, and flags go down. This may be against Oakland as the ball appeared to hit Barrett Robbins, the center of the Raiders. He's an ineligible receiver. If it had hit the ground, no penalty, but it struck the Raider center.
ここのところニューオーリンズはあまりいい成績ではなかったので、このスーパードームを前に
The officiating crew very busy early here at the Superdome.
Well, right now they're looking to the bench for guidance. They're looking to Jim Haslett to see whether or not they should accept or decline the penalty.
You want the third down and no gain, or second down and a penalty?
Trying to take into consideration the
Illegal
field goal.
touching of a forward pass, number 69 offense. By rule, the penalty is an incomplete pass, third down.
Tony is a number challenge today. There is no
69. There is a 63, Robbins.
Let's watch it again. It seems unfair that the quarterback has to dodge all of his linemen in throwing a pass, but he hits Barrett Robbins, the center, right on the right thigh. And by rule, that is a penalty. These guys are getting so big up front that it's getting harder and harder to miss them.
Third down and 8. Saints crowding in, and flag goes down. The umpire tosses the flag off, and that is a false start.
何か今日はスムーズにプレーが進みます。
False start.
それだけエキサイト
Offense, number 79.
That'll make it more challenging for John Porter's offense, as he has his play chart in front of him. Does anyone work? Well, they all work hard, but this fella feels like he's sloughing his duties if he goes to work later than 4 a.m.
Well, that just didn't come over John when he became a head coach. That was his MO all the way through as an assistant coach in Philadelphia and Green Bay. And along the way, he's a workaholic, pure and simple.
Third and long, with pressure on, and there's the sack. Effort of the Saints leading the league with 44 as Weary and Mitchell combined to knock Gannon down.
And it's one of the things the Saints do better than anybody in the NFL. They disguise where the blitz from the left of the screen. There's not a blocker to pick up Weary. Mitchell came around the corner, but the Saints are so good at disguising coverages and disguising which side the blitz is going to come from. And that time you could see, obviously, it surprised Gannon.
So that makes it a 49-yard field goal by the rookie Janikowski. Big left-footed kicker from Florida State, and he knocks it through. He's been sidelined with an infection in his foot. He drives home the first 3 of the game.
49ヤードフィールドゴール成功です。これで第1クォーターは終了ということになります。センツの攻撃が第1クォーター最後の方であったんですが、結局はパントとなりました。第1クォーター3対0、そして第2クォーターですが、レイダーズの攻撃から始まりましたが、ファーストダウンを取れずパント、そして
Charles Woodson showing why he has made the Pro Bowl the last 2 years at cornerback. He has his 3rd interception. And at the 47-yard line of the Saints, the get is to Napoleon Kaufman. Only a yard this time as Kevin Smith and Fields collaborate on the tackle. Let's go back to the Woodson pick and his presence of the sideline.
意気込みっていうのは why the Raiders with that plus 12 turnover differential. He's special.
Second and 9. Actually, they gained a yard on the play. Gannon out with the screen. Look at him. Cleverly picks up the first down inside the 35. Joe Johnson trailing the play from his defensive end makes the tackle. As we remind you to get live updates for each NFL game as it happens. Just click on live scores at cbs.sportsline.com.
Well, we've seen it all through Rich Gannon's career, whether it was those 6 years in Minnesota, his pit stop in Washington, 4 years with the Chiefs, and now here in his 2nd year in Oakland. He frustrates defenses by leaving the pocket and moving the chain.
On first down, a modest play action, then the throw underneath. Didn't become played, and a good play by Smith to jar it loose from Tim Brown. Brown, who has a consecutive game streak going in terms of catches. Not yet today.
Tim Brown has had to spend so much of his National Football League career running 5-yard crossing patterns because of he's a guy who plays bigger than he really is. And that was a completion all the way in the making if it wasn't for that perfectly timed hit by Darren Smith. Tim Brown catches that if it's not for the perfect hit.
119 straight games he's not caught just one pass, but at least 2. Brown in motion. Chase from behind. He's got eyes in the back of his helmet. And now throws complete. It's Andre Rison leaping for the pylon touchdown. Oh my, what an effort by Gannon.
And Rich Gannon doesn't look like he's feeling all that well as he heads to the Raiders sideline. He got jacked at the end of that play, but Rich Gannon buys himself another 3 or 4 seconds, and Andre Rison stays alive.
Andre Rison, his 82nd touchdown reception in his career. 7 different teams, the only man in history to catch a touchdown pass with that many teams, and he and Brown now both with 82. Janikowski drives it home, and it's 10-0 Oakland.
New Orleans defense is frustrated. They can't seem to get a sense on where Rich Gannon is going to go. He evades 1, he evades 2, but crossing the field, making himself visible, Andre Rison for 6.
As Saints defense stunned as Andre Rison all day to run free as Rich Gannon buying time with his scrambling talent, and Rison producing again for the Raiders his 4th touchdown in an Oakland uniform. Janikowski pounds it into the end zone. Morton's going to gamble and take it out. And does get across the 20 to the 25 and 27-yard line. Flag down late. Lots of verbiage down on the field between these two teams, and referee Corrente has the word. Fine. Holding against the Saints. Things going all to the negative side for New Orleans.
Well, we have seen a lot of penalties so far in this game. I think we had 7 in the first quarter alone. This has been a very ragged game so far.
Holding, receiving team number 81. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Tight end Lamont Hall with the penalty.
Again, this is Rich Gannon staying alive, moving out of the pocket, and Andre Rison working parallel to Gannon, leaving the pocket, and just runs away from the Saints defense. Fred Weary has the coverage on Andre Rison, and look at that ballet. Look at the ballet by Rison, switching the ball over to the left hand and getting it over the pylon. There is no way that you would think that he's going to get anywhere inside the 2-yard line. And with that athletic play, Andre Rison comes out of it with a touchdown.
Saints starting deep in their own end at the 15 with Aaron Brooks for the injured Jeff Blake. And to give to Gerald Moore, who gets it hit by Lance Johnstone.
まだリズムはつかめません。
He driving some of those big defensive linemen with their pass pressure. Crazy with his talent. Give up the middle to Moore, scoots to the 22, but that's 3 yards shy of a first down. Well, if that report of a fracture dislocation, that's exactly what Ricky Williams had. That means he's out for the rest of the year.
Well, you run out of adjectives to describe what this means to the New Orleans Saints. Start with words like devastating, demoralizing, and work your way through the list. Jim Haslett will have his hands full trying to keep his team focused with back-to-back colossal injuries to his club.
That's more bad luck than anyone could ever expect in a season, much less back-to-back games. And with no threat of pass from Brooks, the Raiders are ready for Moore and dump him for little gain. It'll bring up 4th down and 2. And the punting team comes on for the Saints.
Well, you hear an awful lot about 8 in the box to stop the running game. We may see the Raiders with 9 in the box. I don't believe that they are right now, Chuck Bresnahan, their defensive coordinator, all that concerned about Brooks beating them through the air.
Goins punt. Very short again, and Gordon with a good chance to return from the 40. Looks for the wall, finds it, and is out of bounds at midfield. Hit by Fred Thomas. Timeout, 9:38 left in the half. 10-0 Raiders.
まあただ今年はセインツ
Youngest coach in the NFL, John Gruden, at 37, an assistant at Pittsburgh, at Tennessee, where he met his wife, a Tennessee cheerleader, Southeast Missouri State, a Pacific, and then to the NFL. Grew up in South Bend, Indiana. Played quarterback at the University of Dayton. Dudley and Brigham, 2 tight ends for Gannon, as the Raiders leading 10-0 start after another short punt at midfield. Kaufman. He doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage, or just does, as a good charge by the Saints defense, as we remind you.
6連勝で止まったわけですが、先週、今週とですね、いずれもロード、しかも先週がデンバーで、今週はこのニューオーリンズ、移動距離も長い。マンデーナイト終わってからこのゲームですから、
First time Kaufman and Jordan in the eye, 2nd and 10. Now Jordan alone back. Gannon. Lots of time. Throws underneath. Jordan showing his power, carrying tackler Darren Smith with him a couple extra yards down to the 43, where it'll be 3rd and 3.
Right now, the offensive line of the Raiders, boy, are they doing a good job of giving Rich Gannon a look all around the field. How many times have we seen Gannon check all the way down to maybe his 3rd or his 4th option and dumping it off underneath? Again, a reminder, the Saints lead the National Football League in the number of sacks. And right now, this Raider offensive line playing well.
Only 1 sack of Gannon, who was scrambled away from several and made some big plays. Brown in motion. Gannon steps away. Here's another scramble and a first down. Still running. And a slide down at about the 22-yard line. Flag is down. 18 yards more for wide-eyed Rich Gannon.
ましい34歳とは思えぬ動
Talk
きでした
about seeing the field and even seeing what's in his periphery and behind him. That sense to know when to go.
Well, you saw all four of the Saints get pressure up the field, but they ran right by him.
真ん中がきれいに空いてしまったので、
And the penalty against the Saints, so Oakland will take the first down scramble.
You have to have a spy staying with Gannon.
Right. Illegal contact, defense, 5-yard penalty. Result of the play, first down.
This is really a good upfield surge. You see the move right there. Leroy Glover stunts out of the middle of the field. Keith Mitchell, who a lot of times will spy Gannon, was involved in coverage that time. See, the one thing about it, a lot of quarterbacks, when they see that opening, aren't decisive. Watch how decisive Gannon, he's gone. He sees the coverage, Darren Smith running away from him in man coverage. He knows with the back turns, he's got 15 yards. Decisively, he leaves the pocket and goes.
Gannon, who will turn 35 shortly, still has young legs. Give it to Zach Crockett. Crockett down to the 15-yard line. Short yardage on first down. Well, the Raiders have had a very difficult week. They lose for the second time to Denver on Monday night. Their plane taking off from the Denver airport aborted on takeoff, shook up the whole team. Didn't get home finally to Oakland after 5 o'clock in the morning. Short week to go on the road after a Monday night. And here they are 10-0 and looking for more.
Going on the road after a Monday night game where you're the visiting team, the most difficult scenario in the NFL.
Tim Brown in motion. Gannon scrambles, gets away again. He's going to run it to the 5 and slides at the 7.
A loss of style points for Rich Gannon at the end of that.
He got hit from the side. Someone grabbed a jersey just as he was making that picturesque baseball slide.
Well, right now, if you're on a defensive lineman for the Saints, you are right now trying to temper your pass rush because you know you're letting him get away. Norman Hand up the field, but again, nobody in a position. And finally, Joe Johnson comes all the way over and gets Gannon to hit the ground. But this is so frustrating to a defensive line.
Gannon now with 47 yards rushing. The Saints have 26 as a team. First and goal. Crockett. Blasts it. Touchdown. Zach Crockett's 5th touchdown carry this year.
And it's apparent that John Gruden knows he's got the Saints reeling. The Saints right now, Jim Haslett has to do everything he can do to keep this football team from imploding after the devastating loss of Jeff Blake. Look at that. Power football, the biggest hit delivered when he ran into his own guy, Barry Sims. That was a superior job of blocking.
Janikowski, Sebastian Janikowski, nicknamed Seabass for his first name, but it fits the body as well.
Chilean?
17-0. Rich Gannon showing why he is the Raiders MVP.
これは大きなリードになりました前半です。ニューオーリンズは攻撃のパスを変えているだけに、ますます苦しくなります。
Seabass has it. Teed up, Sebastian Janikowski. High spinner short this time. And taken by Chris. Oh, it's Fred McAfee. McAfee out to the 26-yard line, the veteran running back.
前半で今決めましたね。これ早く返さないと苦しくなりますね。
そうですね、苦しいんですけども、まあ、クォーターバック、
これ先ほどご覧いただけなかったんですけど、そこで
Yeah, Jeff Blake and chatting with him. He felt that his talent alone would make up for Ricky Williams. He was accepting that challenge, knocked out and perhaps out for the entire rest of the season. On the ground, and it's to Moore, and he pounds his way out close to 10 yards. Gerald Moore, the knock on him coming from the Rams was that he did fumble occasionally, and once you get that reputation, it's tough to beat.
コーチも頭痛いでしょうね。やはりチームでキーになった選手がいなくなるっていうのは、全部変えていかないといけないと思いますから。
First down, Moore again, cooking his way, throwing after from the corner to make the tackle.
いうチームだったら
Moore now 9 carries, 39 yards.
Running the football for the Saints will not become easier as this game goes along. Until Aaron Brooks and the passing game of the Saints decides to try something downfield to at least try to loosen the pressure near the line of scrimmage, the Raiders will creep ever closer.
And Brooks able to scramble out to the 47 near another first down. Charles Woodson made the stop.
Well, I think this is a good move by the Saints. You just can't hand it off every time. From behind, William Thomas looks like he's going to have a clean shot, but look at that, working his way upfield. Tony Bryant goes right into his legs, picking off Thomas. But Brooks showing good speed, good ability to get out of the pocket and go. But William Thomas, one of the fastest linebackers in football, would have made that play on Brooks from behind.
Brooks was in his sights. It is a first down. With the rushing yardage, the Raiders dominating in that category. From the shotgun, the fake to the left and throw. Streaking it his way to the 10, the 5, touchdown, Willie Jackson. A 53-yard stunner as they fake flanker screen and left alone. Willie Jackson, his first catch of the game, goes for a touchdown.
Words can't describe what that means to the New Orleans Saints. And John Gruden knows it. You've got your foot on the other team's throat, and you just let them go.
Aaron Brooks' first pass in the NFL is for a touchdown. Drive for point by Doug Bryant, who celebrated his 30th birthday this weekend. Makes it 17-7 and gives the Saints faithful some hope. Just under 4 minutes left before the intermission.
10点差になればどうなるか分かりません。
Yeah, the 24-year-old Brooks, he'll tell his grandchildren sometime, yes, back in 2000, I threw my first pass and completion in the NFL and went 53 yards for a touchdown. David Dunn, giving them a lot of good results, and he does again out to the 37-yard line. Finally hit by Dante Jones.
All right, let's try this one more time. Here's Willie Jackson right here, who's going to work out, and right around here is where the pump comes from Aaron Brooks. But look at the collision at the top of your screen right here. Confusion as Eric Allen gets picked off. And that is really what allowed Willie Jackson to be so wide. And what this does now for the Saints running game, that they got the ball downfield, that they scored a touchdown, makes their life so much easier. Now it's up to their defense. Make a stand.
3:42 left before the half. Gannon with Jordan behind him, and Tim Brown yet to catch a pass. Gannon, look at this. Time and time again he gets away. Ricky Dudley can't catch the ball, however. As Leroy Glover, looking for his first sack of the day, was pressuring Gannon.
Well, this time let's look at Aaron Brooks on that. See right there, that pump. That's what sells it, plus the confusion in the Raiders secondary. And Willie Jackson makes the most of it. Boy, I'm not sure there's been a team all season that needed a touchdown as badly as the Saints did prior to that.
And that's brought the crowd back alive in support of their beloved Saints. 2nd and 10. Give it to Crockett to the 39-yard line. A gain of only 2 as Darren Howard, who has played very well, the second-round pick out of Kansas State. He has 6 sacks and a couple of forced fumbles as an immediate starter on that Saints defensive line.
If you're in the New Orleans Saints defensive huddle right now, let me see what's been happening here on 3rd and long. See Rich drop back, see Rich run with the football. Somebody on that unit better be in a spy mode on Gannon.
We thought it would be Keith Mitchell, number 59. 3rd Third down and 9. And there's the sack as Keith Mitchell.
That's one way to put the fly on it.
You don't need binoculars to spy on that play.
Keith Mitchell coming off the edge. That puts him at 6.5 sacks for the season. A really productive year for Keith Mitchell. He's already had a couple returns for touchdowns. And a good-looking blitz, though, but the key, he beats the block around the corner. Cannon has no chance whatsoever.
It's one of the rare few times, again, it didn't have a chance to take a step. By the time he felt the presence of Mitchell, then so quickly, it was too late. 2 sacks then here in the first half for New Orleans. And Oakland now is going to spend check that, New Orleans going to spend a timeout. 2:40 left in the half.
セインツがタイムアウトを取りました。1回目です。
Welcome back to the Superdome. If you're just joining us, starting quarterback for the Saints, Jeff Blake, injured. The first report, a fractured dislocation of the ankle, which would mean a season loss. The Saints calling on all reserves as Chad Morton drifts back to the 15 for Leckler's punt. And then throws across the but the Raiders able to make the play. Credit number 84, Jerry Porter, who held his ground on the far side.
And Andre Rison, the guy who caught the pass, not Andre, what am I talking about? Robert Wilson catches that pass, and instead of breaking to the sideline, he comes up the middle.
There is no foul on the play. New Orleans ball, first down.
So Wilson unable to take advantage of what appeared to be a picket fence on the far sidelines.
Yeah, after taking the catch, watch Morton. You know something's up when he just comes to a stop. He just waits and waits and waits, and I think that delay allowed the Raiders to get back in position. But right there, I thought that Wilson was going to break to the sideline. Instead, he cuts back upfield and right into Porter. So that was a well-designed play, but it just took too long to set up. When Morton had to stop and delay, like 3 seconds before he threw it, I think that killed the play.
So the Saints with 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, 2:26 left in the second quarter. Trailing 17-7 shotgun. Aaron Brooks, and he's down at the 15-yard line as Big Grady Jackson throws his 325 pounds on him, his 3rd sack of the season.
But if you're Aaron Brooks, better to take the sack than to do something foolish with the football. You can recover from a sack, Dick, but don't be stupid throwing the ball over the middle of the field trying to make something happen.
An interception by Brooks led to a Raider touchdown. He goes long this time. Only Raiders there. Unfortunate was Darian Gordon not to pick that ball off. It was or was it Anthony Dorsett? Anthony Dorsett had a chance at the interception. A flag is down back at the line of scrimmage.
Brooks just can't throw softballs like that up down the middle of the field. He'd be better off taking the sack, running anything. You just don't throw it up for grabs in the National Football League.
Personal foul against the Saints.
You don't see a personal foul called on the offense very often. John Gruden breaking away from the sidelines. The coach is not supposed to be that far out on the field.
そうです。トニー・ドーセットの息子ですね。
He might have thought that was against his team. That signal is what you usually see for roughing the passer.
でも2世選手が多いですよね、今ね。
We're at the 2-minute timeout. Let's first get the information.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense. Number 68 struck a player, punched him while he was on the ground. The penalty be assessed half the distance to the goal. Repeat, second down.
Right tackle, Kyle Turley is penalized. The ball goes all the way back to the Saints 8. 2 minutes left in the half.
ボールとエンドゾーンまでの距離があまりないという
2 minutes left in the half, and the Raiders leading at 17-7. New Orleans, despite 6 inches of rain. Let's see, Manally's and Mothers. We had the first time been with you in New Orleans, and Emeralds. I mean, you're wearing me out.
Dick, sometimes you have to eat hurt. You don't come to New Orleans without eating.
I'm learning. The handoff is to Chad Morton, and Morton out across the 20, and he's very close for a first down as a flag goes down as he's tackled at the 25 by William Thomas. Now the penalty is crucial. It appears he's a yard shy of the first down. This is holding against the Saints. What a rough first half with the flags for New Orleans. It averaged 7+ penalties per game. They've had 8 in the first half today. Check that with the penalty in the sack. The run by Morton had only brought him to the start of this series, so it would be 11 yards for the first down, not 1. But
Holding, offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty, remains 7 down.
Willie Jackson. So out of all these penalties and clock being stopped and with 2 timeouts left, the Raiders now salivating over the opportunity of getting a short field with time enough to add to their lead. They've got all 3 timeouts.
And Tony Corrente, the referee, is going to have to get a throat lozenge at halftime. He has been putting in overtime on the field, Mike. Again, when you're playing from behind like the Saints, can't afford mistakes.
2nd and 22. Brooks into the flat. It's Morton again, dragged down on a solid tackle by Charles Woodson. That's what makes him so valuable. Terrific in coverage and a solid tackler as well.
And unless Aaron Brooks is able to come up with a little more magic, it'll be good field position for Oakland here. And another opportunity to score before halftime.
Cleveland and Tennessee scoreless at the half. The Browns making it tough on the Titans.
But Brooks has to remember, he has a solid defense sitting over there on the bench. You can't do something foolish, not backed up to your own goal line, not sitting on your own 15-yard line, and not being as inexperienced as he is. Let Norman Hand and let Howard and let Leroy Glover, let everybody else on his club, if you have to, let them do the work.
Wow, the Lions leading the Giants 21-0. The handoff, and it's Morton again, runs into his own blocker and tripped up at the 25-yard line. And timeout called by the Raiders, their second timeout. 1 remaining. They're going to get the ball, 1:36, plenty of time left in the half. And don't forget Thanksgiving Day, it'll be New England against the Lions in the traditional game in Pontiac.
The Raiders get to go home next week and host Atlanta, but the Saints travel to St. Louis next Sunday in what was a huge game in the NFC West. And we'll see about Blake.
Raiders have blocked 4 kicks this year. Goen gets it away. His best punt of this first half. Backpedaling is Darian Gordon to the 22. And he's out to the 34-yard line. Tripped up by Robert Wilson. 1:26. Clock stops on change of possession.
And right now for the Raiders, it's key that Sebastian Janikowski is back with the long leg. He's already kicked a 54-yarder this season. And with an experienced offensive unit led by Rich Gannon, plenty of time to work the ball into field goal range.
Cellulitis was the inflammation of his kicking foot.
So bacterial infection. Of course, you know how serious that can be if not caught in time.
Well, Gannon trying to work his magic here and add to the 17-7 Raider lead. And with the noise, no one heard the whistle.
I'm not sure there was a whistle. Tony Corrente not acting like anybody blew a whistle. I don't know that anybody blew a whistle.
No, they didn't. It's second down now, and you'll have to record that as a sack.
Rich Gannon and the Raider offensive team acting as if someone blew a whistle.
Perhaps someone from the crowd with a whistle. So that's a most unusual situation, and we'll see if they'll replay that.
How can you replay it? There's no. How does an official intervene? If there was no whistle, there was no whistle. Rich Gannon just stops.
Howard gets his second sack. Thank you very much.
He can ask the other officials, did any of you blow a whistle? That's all Tony can do is ask his other officials if anybody blew a whistle.
Going to get an explanation? Apparently so.
The play stands as a sack, loss of yardage, second down.
結局は
That's a mistake by Rich Gannon.
When's the last time you saw that?
Well, you know the old ad, you play until the play is over. You don't assume. You know the old saying about you make a what out of you and me. That's what happens when you assume.
So the loss is 9 yards on the sack. Second and 19. 1:10 and the clock is wound. Brown still looking for his first catch of this half. Inside handoff, and it's Jordan falling forward. And right down in the middle of the field, Mo Collins had wrestled his man down in front of the referee. And the face mask was the call against the Raiders.
レイダースの今のはですね、セインツの後から活躍した選手、足元に活躍した選手、
There are leading men in movies that don't get as much face time as Tony Correntes getting this half. The rugged butler of the NFL. He'd like to renegotiate his contract.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Offense number 79, drug a player to the ground. Penalty is declined. Third down.
Collins at the 28-yard line with 54 seconds left. Third down and 16.
今ランニングバックは足を引きずりましたね。
Saints apparently thinking they might get the ball back.
Tim Brown, unheard from very much in this half. It's been mostly Rich Gannon running the ball.
Here comes Brown in motion. And on the ground, Jordan again. He's out to the 32-yard line. Timeout called by New Orleans. Another flag goes down. 3 of them down. Now, if this is against the Saints, it would be enormously costly in that they've now stopped the clock and will get the punt with 48 seconds showing.
お互いの得点とした上でのプレーでしょうね。
Monsieur Corrente is beyond the taking another bow stage. He's been uncoring.
Barrett Robbins was at the middle of this. Now, Barrett Robbins took a shot at somebody in a New Orleans outfit. Might have been Sammy Knight. It looked like Robbins got hit after the play was over, and then he retaliated. But then he got hit again, so that's what Tony's trying to decipher right now.
過去2年8勝できているんですが、今年もですね。
And I think they're going to get Barrett Robbins.
Continuing action after the play. Personal foul. Offense number 63. The penalty is declined. Fourth down.
センターのバレット・ロビンスに、パーソナルファウルが
Robbins probably retaliating. It's often the second action that gets flagged on Sammy Knight. So with the 48 seconds, the punt team on.
And back-to-back 15-yard penalties against the Raiders decline.
He hits another huge punt. He has some leg. Morton back to his 6 and tackled at the 11. A 62-yard punt. Randy Jordan with a tackle. Now Leckler's longest this year, 69, and he does have a major league leg.
狙ってみようという感じだったんでしょうね。
The wordsmith of all time. Did I actually hear the word "ain't" come out of your lips, Dick Enberg?
Eight, yes, that's what they called the Saints in their tough years. It's indigenous to the area. Third down, and it's a quarterback keeper out to the 22-yard line, and a first down with 28 seconds. Clock runs.
The foundation of my very world has been rocked.
I have to read what they give me. Come on, don't embarrass my Mrs. Johnson, my English professor. One timeout remains for the Saints and the Raiders, 25 seconds. And it is not a first down, second and 1.
She must have been very proud of little Richard.
You're just like the guy that always was behind me, raised that point. He did it. He did it.
どうやるんだったらば
You never put anybody's pigtails in an inkwell.
Are you kidding me? I won all those sportsmanships. I couldn't play with it, but I won all the good guy awards.
I'm not the least bit surprised. Neither is anybody who knows it.
Well, in the meantime, these New Orleans Saints giving hope to their sellout crowd after falling behind 17-0 and more importantly losing not only their top rusher of 1,000 yards last week, Ricky Williams, for the season, then Jeff Blake going down with apparently a broken ankle here in the first half. They rallied behind this young man, Aaron Brooks. It's 17-7. Brooks, screen. Morton out of bounds across the 30 with 17 seconds. Tony Bryant, the closest Raider.
And those are the kind of patterns, the kind of plays I think that you've got to call to give Brooks a chance of succeeding. I think that going down the middle of the field, especially under some kind of duress and a heavy rush, is where Brooks and his lack of experience really surfaces. So give him screens, give him some outs, give him an opportunity to throw some high percentage passes. Now, needless to say, the Raiders know that. They ought to be sitting on them.
But just imagine the pressure of this young man from the University of Virginia. Sell out, play off a 6-game winning streak, giving Saints hopes. He guns this one, and it's caught in a crowd of Raiders by Keith Poole from Arizona State. Anthony Dorsett closes.
Oh, and they wasted way too much time before calling that timeout. They should have called that timeout immediately upon the completion of the pass.
それだともうワンプレーになってしまい
But with 6 seconds left, they'll have a chance for one long bomb toward the end zone.
I think initially Brooks thought maybe he could get to the line and spike the ball. Boy, he threaded that in, didn't he?
3 men. He couldn't have been off a half foot any direction and had that one complete.
I think Greg Beaker thinks he's going to get a hand on it as he comes across underneath within scant inches of touching the football. But that was a blue darter from Aaron Brooks. A name I think that people here in New Orleans are going to have to familiarize themselves with quickly. Because it doesn't, if that prognosis on, and if that diagnosis of Jeff Blake's lower leg injury is accurate, you'd have to think that the Saints are going to have to play the rest of the year without Jeff Blake as well as Ricky Williams.
Jake Delhomme is the 3rd string quarterback for the Saints. So probably the last play of this first half. Buying some time, Brooks. And found by Torrey James, and that is the end of the first half. Time now for these fans and the Saints players and staff to assimilate an enormous loss. Their starting quarterback, Jeff Blake, but Aaron Brooks has his first career touchdown in the National Football League to pull the Saints within 10 at halftime.
ご覧のようになっています。まず数字的には並んだというところですが、ターンオーバー注意していますね。
A lot of standing around, a lot of looking at the ball carrier and the receiver waiting for somebody else make the play. John Gruden's club is not playing aggressively defensively. They are not flying to the football.
3rd and a yard. Smith with Gerald Moore at tailback. Moore. You heard the there's Moore. But able to fall forward for what appears to be a first down at the 12-yard line.
I don't know whose that was, but that hurt.
You've heard that often in your Hall of Fame career.
I've heard it, I've done it. I've said it, I've caused it.
If you hadn't, Dobler did.
You hear an awful lot of that down there.
Bring in the change for an official measurement.
This is right now got to be the Saints offense that's got to be energized. They've got to be feeling good about what they're accomplishing here since halftime. By the length of a couple grains of pigskin. Let's listen again. Well, somebody swallowed some air right there. Someone got hit in the unprotected midsection. That is, boy, Jim Haslett has got to be thrilled with the way his team has come out and performed here at the start of this second half.
You're looking at one of the candidates for Coach of the Year, and Haslett, what he's done here, rebuilding this New Orleans club. Aaron Brooks better hurry. Just gets it off. And then has to hold it. And they're calling him down for contact as Grady Jackson has another sack. He had only 2 all year, and he's got 2 today.
プレーとしては非常に面白い。
I love looking. I could look at John Gruden after every play. This guy is the master of 1,000 looks, and nobody looks more disgusted on a routine basis than John Gruden. He has the look. His players will tell you, though, don't always get confused by the look. He's not nearly as harsh a guy as he looks like sometimes, and they're right.
Very passionate about this game and his players. Second and long now. Gerald Moore didn't have a chance. Darrell Russell right there as if he knew the play that was coming.
So Darrell Russell, 2-time Pro Bowler, first-round draft choice, does the swim move, 3 yards penetration. Gerald Moore has no chance whatsoever. When you've got a defensive lineman getting that far upfield, and that's one of the rare miscues by the Saints offensive line. Big Darrell has taken over games before. Second player drafted back in '97, and that time he looked like it.
After Orlando Pace was picked by the Rams, Russell by the Raiders. That was 2nd and 24. 3rd and 24. Scoreboard had 7. Brooks fires almost intercepted. The ball poorly thrown. Joe Horn asking for a penalty. And remember, this sequence all began after the fumble recovery on the first play with Glover wide open in the end zone for the scoring touchdown. Tying touchdown.
And the sack on Aaron Brooks is going to make this a lot tougher. You see Aaron Brooks screaming for a penalty, not going to get that call, but it's certainly making it a lot tougher kick now for Doug Bryant. He had a chip shot, no longer.
Now it becomes 44 yards, almost 45, going to Horn. His longest this year is 48. And he hooked it, no good to the left. So the forced fumble, a wide open opportunity, flag down, wide open opportunity for the touchdown to Glover. That was overthrown by young Aaron Brooks. And now the missed field goal, but let's check the penalty.
Here's Tony.
And it's against the Raiders for holding as they set up a field goal block and perhaps somebody holding inside to try to free a teammate to block.
Holding, defense number 58. Grabbing a player, pulling to the side, creating a hole for a defensive player to attempt to block the kick. 5-yard penalty, automatic.
What a call. What a painful call for the Raiders.
And what a good explanation by Tony Correnti describing a move that used to be legal in the National Football League and no longer is. In the very middle. Let's take a look at it. See if we could see it. You can see the flag coming in. Let's try one more look at it. Let's look at it to the left. To the left side of our screen. Right there is Alexander, 58. You see him getting the pull to the inside, and I got to tell you something, that's not much of a pull. Sometimes you'll see that where it's very open, easy to see. I didn't think that was one of them.
On 4th and over 20, they get a first down on the 5-yard penalty, the Saints, and another chance, and Moore hit by Anthony Dorsett. He came up quickly from his safety spot to deny any significant yardage. It's a 2-yard gain. Dorsett in his uniform with that 33 looking more and more like his father, doesn't he?
Where'd that number come from? Of course, his father in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Tony Dorsett, career with the Dallas Cowboys, and his son playing on the other side of the ball. Last year, Tony Dorsett, the young Tony, was with Tennessee, now found a home with the Raiders.
Give us to the 16-yard line where it'll be 3rd down and 4. for Marquez Pope, the safety man making the stop.
いいんじゃないかなと思いますけどね。
Pope has a significant record as well. Perhaps it'll never happen. Well, it won't happen again. He played on every NFL team in California. The Rams while they were still there, the Chargers, the Raiders, and the San Francisco 49ers. He got the trifecta plus one.
What's that, the quadfecta?
I've never been that high. Third down. And call it a long five. Brooks trying to run it. And that play just looked like it was in trouble from the very start. Marquez Pope coming up on cue to make the tackle along with Charles Woodson.
It did look like a designed running play from the beginning, although it wasn't blocked that way.
So Brian gets a second chance to cut into the Raider lead and make it a 17-13 game. He missed from 44 yards, and this one will be a bit shorter, about 40. Brian making good in earlier in this half with a 42-yard field goal. First possession of this half. This one straighter. And the fumble recovery does produce 3. So 13 unanswered points by the home team Saints, and the Raider lead cut to 4.
点差、微妙な得点差になりましたので、これは面白くなりました。
We welcome you back to the Superdome, where the Saints rallying behind their backup quarterback Aaron Brooks and a tenacious defense that has produced 5 more sacks, 49 now for the year to lead the NFL. David Dunn anticipating Toby Gowen's kickoff.
And I think everybody here, announcers included, are stunned that this game is competitive.
Good spinner down for 1. Here comes Dunn. Big package to tackle, runs through several, and to the 28-yard line for Dante Jones gets him to the carpet. I'm out.
Not happy that his team had to settle for 3 points instead of 6. So irate when he came back to the sidelines, he threw his helmet and Jim Haslett had to come over and console him. But all Horn kept saying was, it should have been a touchdown. It should have been a touchdown, guys.
So it's 17-13 and not a touchdown to tie it. And Napoleon Kaufman with a rude greeting from Mark Fields and from the other outside linebacker, Keith Mitchell.
Right now, the Raiders need to put a little hitch in their giddy up because offensively, they have been sleepwalking so far here in the third quarter. New Orleans playing inspired defensively, absolutely nothing there. And Tim Brown, he hasn't caught a pass yet this game.
No, he's not, and that's a long streak in jeopardy here. He's been shut out. Gannon looking outside to Richard, the fullback for the catch, but Fields catches him after a gain of only 2. It'll be 3rd and 8. A reminder to log on to NFL.com for an in-depth profile of Dolphins running back Lamar Smith, former Saint, was having one of the best seasons in the NFL.
Well, these linebackers for the Saints are all over the field. Keith Mitchell, Mark Fields, Darren Smith. These guys are everywhere. They've got a new linebacker coach this year in John Bunting. Last year, the co-defensive coordinator of the world champion Rams. This defensive unit of the Saints is everywhere.
Raiders in the minus pool here in the third quarter. 3rd and 8. And some time, and there he goes. Gets a block, and he has the first down at the 38-yard line. And you can see now why our colleague Phil Simms has been campaigning for Gannon as the most valuable player in the league. How many big plays does he make?
Well, he's made more than his share today. He is single-handedly moving the Raider offense. How many times has Gannon today moved the chains by finding a way to get upfield and make a big play? Rich Gannon has been the entire offense for the Raiders today. In reality, remember, it was his scrambling that opened up the touchdown to Rising.
He has 59 yards rushing now as Kaufman, the inside handoff, and he shows the power almost 10 yards before the Saints Perry and Mitchell can get him down. So Gannon has 59 yards passing and 59 yards passing, 56 yards rushing. So he's almost, well, now he's reduced down to 57 officially.
Well, you have to give New Orleans an awful lot of credit for covering up the Raider receivers, but you also got to be a little critical of their inability to control Gannon leaving the pocket.
They've gotten him 5 times on sacks. He's only been sacked 18 times all year coming in, so that part's a bust, but he has scrambled for a crucial first down. Crockett dumped before he can hit the line of scrimmage by Leroy Glover. Glover leading the league in sacks with 13, tied with Hugh Campbell of Philadelphia, none today.
NFL でナンバーワンの13サックを決めている選手。
They come from all around.
Third down, and a short 2 as Gannon rolling and firing, and there is Tim Brown, or is it James Jett? It is Jett who makes the catch, and a first down for the Raiders in Saints territory. 17-13 the score here. Let's go to Jim Nantz in New York.
出番がなかったですよね。これ82番は出るんでしょうか。
Thank you, Jim.
How big a part of Buffalo's offense over the years now that Jay Remus might become?
Injured, missed 4 or 5 games in the middle of the year, and they weren't the same team. And the first down, Crockett, and suddenly the Saints showing a much tougher defense against the run than they showed in the first half, although they've yet to really corral quarterback Rich Gannon on his scrambles.
But give Gannon a lot of credit because he got out, broke contain, and really threaded one in there to James Jett to pick up the first down. Jett had 2 Saints all over him, and Rich Gannon just put the ball perfectly in position for Jett to convert the first down. Wherefore art thou, Tim Brown?
He's split out to flank left with Jett to the right. Here comes Brown in motion on 2nd and 10. Gannon able to dump it off, intended for Crockett, as the pressure came from Leroy Glover. Jim Nantz getting paid by the word today.
ちょっと目についたんで自分してしまいましたけど、センターだと思うんですけどね。
All right, thank you, Jim.
Interesting call, you're right, Jimmy. Being down by 9, 2 scores needed. I think I'd have gone for the deuce.
Not just 1 pass in 118 straight games, but at least 2. But shut out today, and we're in the final quarter. And a shovel pass to Kaufman, and Napoleon Kaufman all the way to the 21-yard line of the Saints before Sammy Knight and Chris Oldham can make the tackle.
Oh, they were saving that one. What a beautifully executed shovel pass. Obviously taking everyone in a black jersey by surprise. Rich Gannon, so much focus on him. Look at that ball. He just feathers it to Napoleon, and he's got a convoy downfield. He ends up passing them all before they can do much of anything. But this is made possible because of what Rich Gannon has accomplished up to this point. Everybody on the Saints front line in a hurry to get to the quarterback.
25-yard play, first down, right back to Kaufman. Dances, but too many partners in black jerseys, and he goes down after a gain of a yard. In the first half, rushing, the Raiders 120 yards against the team that's been very tough to run against all year. This half, just 25 yards, as New Orleans much more difficult against the run, but Gannon keeping drives alive. Remember, he told us yesterday, he said that's the real challenge for us. One thing looking at the Saints defense is they don't give up those long sustained drives. That's what we do best.
They don't give up big plays. And Reddick, the Saints giving up to 78 yards a game all season rushing.
And 2nd down and 9. Pump, and the throw for Brown. Catch of the day is a touchdown. Wouldn't you know it? The All-Pro Brown patiently waits to the fourth quarter for his first reception and a strike from Gannon for the score.
Well, the Raiders have been dormant offensively all this second half, but they picked a good time to wake up. Look at that, just a little smooth transition into the post pattern, and the Saints lost track
最初に左側に投げる
of this guy. I know he's been quiet all game, but how you don't pay attention to Tim Brown, Kevin Mathis a little late getting over there.
レシーバー入っていくという形になってますよね
Janikowski, and he adds the extra point, and that quiets this Superdome crowd as the Raiders move back in front by 11.
この差がまた開きまして11点
Eight-time Pro Bowler Tim Brown, the former Heisman winner, has his first catch, and the streak is alive. And more importantly, Brown, a great team guy with the Raiders. At one time, he thought he wouldn't stay in the silver and black. Took home his practice jerseys, his uniforms in '93. He said he's a Raider now for his career. Janikowski. Get the touchback as he stays in the end zone. Let's go back to how Brown got open.
Well, here he is right here. Here's Tim Brown. He's in the slot. As my telestrator isn't working, he's in the slot. But watch the safety. Go ahead and roll it, guy. Watch the safety. They decide to go to the other side and double team Andre Rison with no safety in the middle. Tim Brown makes the adjustment, heads into the middle where there's no safety help, and Gannon sees him as well.
And Brown was quick to praise the addition of Rison to the team for just that reason. He said, so often I have 2-3-man coverage in situations like that. Now they've got to pay attention to Rison, who has a touchdown earlier in the first half. And Brown then, with that easy. Brooks, finally just done some short for a 1-yard gain. That's there, and the flag goes down.
Well, there's going to be a roughing the passer call against the Raiders. They hit Brooks late.
Regan Upshaw, number 91, appeared to be in late.
Personal foul, roughing the quarterback, defense number 91, unnecessarily taking the quarterback to the ground. 15 yards will be added to the play, automatic, first down.
Well, that's making it easy. Upshaw, who came over from the Jaguars, he's number 91 coming from behind, the ball away. And in the opinion of Tony Correnti, he could have let Brooks go instead of throwing him down to the ground. I've seen a lot worse. But there's been so many flags in this game. I guess it's the way it'll be to the end.
Yeah, it was up the middle for Terrell Smith, and Smith showing all the way through the ball. He's done so rarely all season long that he can rumble a bit. He's close to a first down, out to the 46-yard line. See the other scores, bottom of your screen. And it's just short of the first down. We'll bring up second and inches.
And for those of you that missed it, Jeff Blake, the regular quarterback for the Saints, fractured a bone in his foot right at the very end of the first quarter. And since then, it has been Aaron Brooks, second-year player from Virginia, who's had the task. There's Jeff Blake on the Saints bench, listening to the coaches upstairs, but Aaron Brooks, with no NFL experience to speak of, is having to quarterback this football team and is doing a reasonably good job. I think better than you can expect.
Here is Brooks. Has to dump it off again. It's a first down. And Chad Morton tackled at the Raider 48-yard line by William Thomas and Marquez Pope.
That's showing a little confidence in the youngster, letting him throw the football on second and very short. That's a confidence builder.
He's from Newport News, Virginia. Anthropology degree at the University of Virginia. So that tells you he's got considerable smarts. You don't see many of those degrees in the NFL.
Oh, but in the amount of work his arm has gotten during practice, it's partially fossilized.
First down. A delay, and then here comes Morton's flag down, and he's out of bounds at the 33-yard line, but will it count?
Well, if Darrell Russell has his way, he's saying it's holding, and this will come back. Darrell Russell, the big defensive tackle for the Raiders. appears that he was accurate in his call.
This is in the spirit of the weather here in the Crescent City since we arrived Thursday night. It has rained over 6 inches, just a constant downpour, and so it is with the yellow flags
Holding.
today.
Offense number 63. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
It's Wally Williams, the left guard. And again, we've seen both teams really hurt themselves repeatedly, and they seem to come after big gains too. You're not seeing many penalties on just 1 and 2 yard gains. We're seeing a large number of big plays on both teams brought back. Look at that, 15 overall penalties.
And a couple of 15-yarders declined by the Saints.
I only had 4 or 5 negated.
First down and long. Brooks over the middle, wide open is Morton. He's at the 35. And all the way to the Raider 22-yard line before Dorsett could save a touchdown. 34 yards from Aaron Brooks to Chad Morton.
And Aaron Brooks again enjoying some good pass protection. Watch this, right across the middle. There flashes Morton. And look at that, allowing him to catch it in full stride. An excellent throw by Brooks. And then it is all Morton. Chad Morton, an outstanding open field runner. And if Dorsett doesn't catch him, that's 6. And Morton hits the ball into the ground, slams the ball into the ground when he came up, and Dorsett didn't like it.
On first down, it's Terrell Smith, and Smith carrying 3 tacklers with him. One of them, 325-pound Grady Jackson. A good gain on first down inside the Raider 15. Smith who blocked for J.R. Redmond with the Sun Devils of Arizona State last year. Redmond now with the Patriots, their third-round pick. He's from the San Diego area.
We saw this in the Indy Green Bay game. Jim Nance in New York. I know what you're thinking already. You're right. If the Saints score, they need to go for 2.
Second down and 2. Boy, that was somebody outside there. The Raiders were in the backfield before the ball was snapped. But I don't see a flag.
Well, it looked like if that's the case, then Jerry Fontenot snapped the ball early. Let's see if Fontenot snapped the ball before his team.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, some of them got off the right side of the line. Looked like they didn't. And you're right, Darrell Russell. It's not really a good thing when a defensive tackle has his arms around the quarterback while he's trying to make a handoff. And that's what Darrell Russell is doing right there. Darrell Russell has both of them. Look at that. Darrell Russell has Aaron Brooks, and Darrell Russell has Chad Morton.
Kyle Turley falls on the fumble and an injured Saint on the play.
That's the old legend that used to go with guys like Big Daddy Lipscomb and people like that getting in the backfield and throwing 2 guys around.
Having 2 different legs and saying make a wish.
Darrell Russell with the twofer.
3rd and 4 when we return. Welcome back. A bit more than 8 minutes left in the 4th quarter. The Saints down at the Raider 15-yard line, trailing Oakland by 11. Gerald Moore was the New Orleans player shaken on the last play, left under his own power. Shotgun now on 3rd, and about 3.5. As you can see, the sticks across the way. Brooks. Lots of time. Fires incomplete. Intended for Joe Horn, and he was well covered by Anthony Dorsett. So the field goal unit on with 7:45 left.
Smart move, putting Brooks on the move, get him out of the pocket. When you do that, though, it really compresses the field to that one side. No choice but to go to Joe Moore, the only receiver he had, effectively covered by Dorsett.
You can see Horn wanted to go more back to the center of the field where it appeared to be open area, but the quarterback didn't read it that way. Bryan, a 33-yard field goal to get the Saints within 8. And it is good, so it'll take a touchdown and a 2-point conversion for the Saints to tie the Raiders 24, New Orleans 16. 7:41 left in the 4th. New Orleans with a third Doug Bryan field goal, pulling within a touchdown and two-point conversion with plenty of time, 7:41. And David Dunn back to return Toby Cohen's kickoff. David Dunn on the return. Picked up at the 25-yard line, and that's where Rich Gannon will start. Let's go to Bonnie Bernstein. All right, the injury reports more than significant in this game, especially in light of the fractured foot of Jeff Blake that knocked him out with a minute and a half left in the opening quarter. Moore filling in for Ricky Williams, out for the regular season with a broken ankle last week at Carolina. Rich Gannon, 52 yards. Passing the last series, and he throws underneath to Ricky Dudley, and Dudley with a catch finally. He had 17 coming in, number one pick out of Ohio State. Always looking for bigger things from this big man, 6'6" and 255, like so many tight ends. College basketball player, Andrew Glover on the other side. Both he and Dudley were three-time lettermen in basketball in their respective collegiate seasons.
I think we were close to seeing another 15-yard penalty. I thought the Saints came in with an awfully close to a late hit on Dudley.
Second and long one. Backfield is Zach Brockett. Good penetration from Leroy Glover. Third down and still a yard. And it's a little more than that. They have to get across the 36-yard line. Gannon underneath and has the first down, and it's to Tim Brown. So that 2 catch per game consecutive streak lives. Now at 119 straight games.
And really a catch that is emblematic of Tim Brown's career. This has not been a glamour receiver over his 13 years in the National Football League. A lot of his catches, a lot of his yards, hard-earned yards, crossing patterns underneath where he's getting hit by linebackers, situations just like that. Tim Brown, no pretty boy, just flying down the sideline.
First down at the 41. And Kaufman trying to cut back, look for a block. Able to make a couple yards out of the play. Darren Perry and Norman Hand make the stop. Bonnie?
Yeah, well, Keith Mitchell, is having another fine day for the Saints defense. He had a fumble recovery that set up a field goal, also had a sack, and he's really done a good job stepping in for Charlie Clemens, who got hurt in the preseason. Jim Haslett said, when I told him I wanted to start rushing the passer more, he was kind of insecure about it because he wasn't sure about his athletic ability, and now he comes in to practice every day saying, when can I blitz? What do you have in the playbook for me, Coach?
And now enjoying it thoroughly, the fact that he can ad-lib in this disguised defense for the boys from the Bayou. Gannon deflected, intercepted, had it then picked off by Kevin Mathis. He had 6 points the other way.
Oh, how close was that? How close was that? Take a look at it right there. It's tipped right on the end of the line.
Darren Howard.
Darren Howard gets his hand on the... Ooh, the ball just doesn't carry to Mathis.
He'd have been singing like Johnny Mathis had he been able to pick that one off. He had a sure touchdown. No one in his path. Third and 9. Richie and Jordan, 2 big backs behind Gannon. The throw, complete, and it is to Tim Brown, the clutch third down receiver, and he has the first down at the Saints' 46-yard line. Now, it took Brown until the fourth quarter to have his first reception. That was a touchdown.
Well, he's in motion, and he's locked up one-on-one with Alex Molden, and then he gets away, and then it's the Darren Perry, the safety, that has to come over. But with a route run that precisely, with that kind of a throw by Gannon, extremely difficult to defend that pass. And Tim Brown, quiet in the first half, coming through with critical receptions here in the second.
Now 54 in the year. He leads Oakland. That buys more time for the Raiders. They lead by 8. And allowing Forrest Crockett a couple of yards to the Saints 43. So the Raiders trying to use up as much time as possible. If they can get a field goal from the strong-legged rookie Janikowski, it puts the Saints 2 touchdowns away.
Yeah, it puts them 2 scores away. And John Gruden right now, he's got the luxury of being a little conservative. He's also got the luxury of having Rich Gannon at quarterback. A quarterback who really is playing the best football of his career, in complete command of everything going on out here, and a lot of weapons at his disposal.
Under 4 minutes left. Saints have 2 timeouts remaining. Crockett. You can hear the bomb slide as he gets it to the 41-yard line, where it'll be 3rd and 6. Just to go back at the start, we showed you the standings in the AFC West. The Raiders, who have lost only to Denver, 8-2, and are 4-1 on the road, leading the Broncos by 2 and trying to go to 9-2. And the Saints hoping for a victory today that will put some pressure on the Rams. They trail St. Louis by a game and will play in St. Louis next weekend.
And knowing that St. Louis has a very difficult game against the Redskins tomorrow night.
This is a big play for the Saints to maintain hope. They need a stop here. Gannon, lots of time. Wide open is Brown again. Brown to the 20. And finally to the carpet at the 13-yard line. Is he something? Shut out for 3 quarters, and now 4 huge catches in this 4th quarter. 1 for a touchdown, 2 to pick up first down.
All right, Timmy hurt himself a little bit on that one, but still signaling the first down. Right now, Tim Brown a little shaken up, but he is not the primary guy on this pattern. Rich Gannon looks to the right before he finds Brown, left all alone in the Saints secondary.
Math is trying to cut in front, thinking he had the interception. Brown releases and is open.
Yep, Rich immediately looks to the right, but then quickly comes back to the left, and I'm sure was a little amazed when he first looked over there to see how wide open Tim Brown was.
Saints use their 2nd timeout. Back in the Superdome, home of 5 Super Bowls, 8 actually in New Orleans, 3 at Old Tulane Stadium. Tim Brown okay. Was feeling the side of his jaw after that tackle. And a big gain down to the Saints' 12-yard line with 2.5 minutes remaining. 1 timeout, all for the Saints. Up goes Crockett off left tackle and inside the 10 for a gain of 3 or 4. Sammy Knight makes the stop, and that'll be the final timeout for the New Orleans Saints, except for the 2-minute timeout. 2:21 left, and John Gruden's team now in the position of power with an 8-point lead and well into field goal range against the Saints. Checking the other standings, the AFC, certainly one of, if not the most contentious of the division races. Miami, 1 ahead of Indianapolis, and 2 in front of Buffalo at the start today. In the Central, Tennessee, like the Raiders, 8-2, and Miami. Baltimore just a game back after the win in Nashville last week. Now, a lot of reason with the wild card situation for fans in many of the NFL cities to be cheering. Here in the NFC East now, the Giants were being clobbered by the Lions today. Haven't seen a recent score, but it looked as if they were going to go down to defeat, so that'll mix up the East. Minnesota, an 8-2 team in the NFC, with Detroit a probable winner against the Giants, staying in contention. This play, unless it's an incomplete pass, should take it down to the 2-minute timeout, and it's Crockett to the 6-yard line, and 3rd down, and there's nothing the Saints can do about that monster that just chews up precious seconds. It'll go to the 2-minute timeout, as Gruden said, and don't hurry.
Don't hurry, and I don't think we're going to see a passing play on third down.
Not unless you want to be employed by Al Davis next week. Bye first week in playoffs, and the Raiders, Dan, this is an important win, 9-2 without Tyrone Wheatley. They give it inside, and driving to the goal line, and a touchdown. Zach Crockett, second of the game. So Crockett, who hasn't carried all that much with Wheatley and Kaufman, getting most of that running duty, but he had carried 12 times for 4 touchdowns prior to today, and with Wheatley out, he gets 2 more scores.
Well, and against a very stingy rushing defense in the Saints, the Raiders today have been very effective running the football, led by their quarterback, Rich Gannon, who scrambled for almost 60 yards in the game. That's just good power football, everybody involved.
Janikowski adds the extra point, and with 1:55 left, it's 31-16.
You raised the question about the Raiders, Dick, and home field advantage, and you mentioned Tyrone Wheatley, and when he comes back, other than Wheatley's injury, and Matt Stinchcomb, their left tackle, their normal starting left tackle, who's got a bandaged shoulder, this is a pretty healthy football team. And John Gruden's club, I think, is in awfully good position to make a run for it. They nearly won last week at Mile High. How difficult is that to win? And now the most difficult thing is coming on the road after being on the road from Monday night. You got the short week. You've got to travel all the way here to New Orleans. They came in on Friday night, and they're going to leave with a win. John has to be thrilled with it. Consecutive weeks lose their leading rusher in Ricky Williams, who on the carry where he breaks his lower leg gets 1,000 yards, and then in the very next game they lose probably the most valuable player, Jeff Williams.
Janikowski driving this one at Chad Morton at the 1-yard line. Morton's been productive today, and he's looking for more. At the 40, has Janikowski to deep, and Janikowski gets a hand on it and knocks him out of bounds inside the Raider 30-yard line.
Janikowski showing a little speed there for a guy who's 6'1", 255 pounds. I think he's a little down after maybe that weight's a little lower than that. Remember, this guy missed a couple weeks with cellulitis and a burst of speed. This is wonderful blocking up front. Look at this. Untouched is Chad Morton. No one from the Raiders even touches him. But right here to the left, not even in the picture, look at Sebastian go.
Well, he is a former soccer star in Poland. He was on the national 17 and under team, so he obviously had to move a little bit.
And he's filling out those shiny gray pants.
A 68-yard return by Morton. First down at the 30. Brooks underneath to Morton. He still has some gas enough to get out of bounds at the 24-yard line, a gain of 6. Torrey James, an extra defensive back on the coverage. 1 minute 37 seconds remaining, and young Aaron Brooks scrapped without a timeout.
Well, there'll be much written and said about Aaron Brooks here in the Crescent City over the next week, as he is now the man at the quarterback position for the Saints. I think he's acquitted himself pretty well when you consider this is a guy who never even attempted a pass in a regular season NFL game prior to today.
Second and 4 over the middle. Willie Jackson finally hammered at about the 8-yard line. William Thomas in on the stop. And no flag. Looks like the clock continues to run. First and goal for the Saints. And Brooks downing the ball to stop the clock.
Being such a nice guy, he's even going to go after it. Try to get it for the official. Don't worry about that, Aaron. They'll take care of that business.
The score is Buffalo still made the first final. Tennessee defeats Cleveland after all those turnovers. New England goes to Detroit with a win in its back pocket. Needed that one. Beat Cincinnati. Green Bay holding on after the early lead. Minnesota apparently is just 2 ticks away from another win to go 9-2. Chicago upsets Tampa Bay. Mike Ditka right again. Brooks fires, touchdown. He hits Willie Jackson for the second time. So Brooks to Jackson, a touchdown combination for 53 yards, and now from 8 yards.
And now down by 9 points. They will go for 2. They've got to either go for 2 on this one or on the next one. But look at this. First of all, absolutely no pass rush by the Raiders whatsoever. A completely clean look at the field for Aaron Brooks, and he finds a wide open Willie Jackson. But the Raiders decided to take that play off when it came to rushing the quarterback.
31-22, a 2-point conversion would pull them within a touchdown. Draw? No. Throws it way the New Orleans Saints receivers in the end zone to pull one of them. So the defense of the Raiders answers, and it remains 31-22. 69 seconds left in this game at the Superdome.
9点差ですから今のも1点
Thanksgiving Day, a day to give thanks, a day to eat, and a day to watch football.
That's the American way.
Pretty much a perfect day.
The onside kick coming up. Does it go far enough?
No. That ball didn't travel 10 yards.
The flags answer the violation. It's Chris Oldham. They're hoping he would get a bounce.
The receiving team can cover the football if they choose to go after it inside before it travels 10 yards, but the kicking team cannot.
Illegal touching of the kickoff by the kicking team. By rule, the ball must be re-kicked after a 5-yard penalty.
But this is the last time you re-kick. It used to be a farcical at times. You just keep trying and trying and trying, but now you get one opportunity and then you give the ball away.
Yeah, because that first time, it's really not all that punitive on the kicking team. You made the mistake and you get an opportunity to try it again.
All the good hands people for the Raiders up close. Crockett, Jordan, Brown, Kaufman.
Not many linemen with gloves on.
You never had to play that role, huh?
I think Lincoln Kennedy and Mo Collins and Wisniewski, they're sitting this one out.
Final desperation attempt now for the Saints. Ryan lines up, and then it's Goen who kicks it at the end. And that one did go 10 yards, and it's covered by the Saints. Rob Kelly came down with it. So New Orleans gets it out across the 40-yard line with 1:09 remaining. Now the Raiders and the officials may want a replay here.
Well, they kicked from the 25. Let's see, it's got to go across the 35 before it's touched. You saw it looked like as he was crossing the 35-yard, it was first touched. The question is, in my mind, did Rob Kelly go out of bounds and then come back in and touch the football? You've got to reestablish yourself in the field of play.
Let's see, 27 Kelly.
You can't be out of bounds and be the first one to touch the ball. Boy, from that angle, it did look to me like Willie Jackson touched it. It looked to me like he touched it before that ball traveled 10 yards. I think we start there, and then we have the question of Kelly coming in from out of bounds.
The ball was illegally touched by New Orleans prior to going 10 yards. By rule, it'll be Oakland's ball at that spot, first down.
I think that is a good call by the officiating crew. It looked like Willie Jackson, who went up in the air, actually touched the football before it had traveled 10.
In the air, it was a very close call, but of course he is leaving. I guess you have to call that the same way as the goal line, that you were actually in the field of play in the air. You had an established position at a 10-yard distance.
Well, I'm not 100% sure that that's the way the NFL looks at it. It's probably exactly where the football is. Again, you see Jeff Blake leaving the field on crutches, a fractured bone in his foot, and 2 devastating losses to the Saints in 2 weeks.
This is just kneel down time for Rich Gannon and the Oakland Raiders, who will take a 9th win of the season back home to the Bay Area and continue to show the rest of the NFL that they are a team designed for the playoffs under this young head coach, John Gruden. He's an impressive 37-year-old. Said at the University of Dayton at 5'9", 185-pound quarterback, he knew he didn't have any future beyond college ball. But he said that when he was 12 or 13 years of age, son of a football coach, he said, I knew then I wanted to be like my dad and coach football.
And you have to look at the Raiders, their positioning now with their one-loss record, with the overall health of their football team, and look at the skilled players that they have on both sides of the ball. And you'd have to say John Gruden has this team poised for a real high-quality stretch run and maybe home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs.
And appropriately, we saw Rich Gannon take the football off the field. What big plays he made again for the Raiders. His scrambles leading to a early 17-0 lead.